Hi, today we'll be looking at how to find the x and y-intercept of an equation. So let's see some questions here. So the question we'll be dealing with today says we should find the intercepts and graph each equation by plotting the points of the intercept. Now the first equation we have here is a linear equation, which is y equals 3x minus 9. Now we are told to find the intercept. Now since it's just a Cartesian plane, that is a two-dimensional plane, so the kind of intercept we intend to find is just the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So we want to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So now actually the x-intercept is the value of x when y is 0, while the y-intercept is the value of y when x equals 0. So now to start, let me start by finding the x-intercept. So the x-intercept, you recall, is the value of x when y is 0. So I'm going to set y to be 0 in the original equation. So what we have is going to be 0 equals 3x minus 9. And then we solve for x. So to solve for x, so we'll collect like terms. So we'll bring this to this side here. So then we have 3x equals 9. And then when we divide both sides by 3, so this goes off. And then we have our x to be equal to 3. So the coordinate is going to be x equals 3 and y equals 0. So this is our x-intercept. So the next thing we want to find is the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is the value of y when x is 0. So when x is 0, so we want to find y. So we set x equals 0 in the original equation here. So when x is 0, we have y equals 3 times 0 minus 9. And that's going to give us 0 minus 9, which is equal to negative 9. So that is to say, when x equals 0, y equals negative 9. So this is our y-intercept. Now the beauty of the whole stuff here is that whenever you want to plot the equation of a line, the only thing you need to know is just the x-intercept and the y-intercept. With these two information, I can plot a perfect line. So let's plot our line. Now, from what we are given here, we're given 2 points. So the first point is the x-intercept, which is when x is 3, y is 0. So when x is 3, y is 0. This is the first point here, which is the point 3, 0. And the next point is when x is 0, y equals negative 9. So when x is 0, y equals negative 9, which is this point here. So this is 0, negative 9. And then to join this point, so we have this point here, join to this point here. So this is a line y equals 3x minus 9. So let's look at one more question. So here also we are told to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So just like the previous question here, so this equation here can be written as y equals 4 minus x squared. And then to find the x-intercept, we would set our y to be 0. So you set y to be 0. When you set y to be 0, you have 0 equals, so we set this to be 0, equals 4 minus x squared. So we want to find x. So looking at this is the same thing as, so when we factorize this is going to be 2 minus x into 2 plus x. That is the difference of two squares, equals 0. And then on solving this, so we obtain either x equals 2 or x equals negative 2. So that is to say, whenever y is 0, x is 2, that is we have the first point is 2, 0, or the second point is going to be negative 2, 0. So the next one I want to find is the y-intercept. And then the y-intercept is just the value of y when x is 0. When x is 0. So we set x equals 0 here. So when we set that, we have y equals 4 minus 0 squared, which is going to be 4. So when x is 0, our y equals 4. So now we have 3 points now that I want to use to plot this quadratic equation here. So this is our x-intercept, while this is our y-intercept. So let's plot this on the graph. So all we need is just a sketch anyway. So the first point is when x is 2, y is 0. When x is 2, y is 0. So this is 2, 0. And next is when x is negative 2, y is 0. So this is the other point here. When x is negative 2, y is 0. While the other one is when x is 0, y equals 4. So which is this point here. When x is 0, y is 4. That is 0, 4. So we just join this. And then we join this. Something like this. So this is a sketch of this equation here. Y equals negative x squared plus 4. Now, what we would have learned here is that you would observe that whenever you're given a quadratic equation and then you want to have an idea of how, or probably a graphical representation of the quadratic equation, all we need to know is just the x-intercept and the y-intercept, and then magically it just presents a visual representation of the quadratic equation, which I think is very powerful. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.